Hello, and welcome to our channel, Vedic Solutions, preparing for the coming of the Golden Age. And I'm your host, Harinama Chintamani. I want to thank all of you for the letters that you're writing in, your encouragement, your questions. Thank you so much. Today we're going to discuss a little bit about cosmology. There are so many ideas about the universe, and they are all speculation. Are there wormholes? How did everything come? What happened after the Big Bang? Is everything shrinking? Is it expanding? So many speculations. There is no way that as tiny conditioned souls, we are going to be able to speculate about the nature of reality and the nature of the universe. So in the Vedic literatures, it's described that there are several ways of acquiring knowledge. One is that we can utilize our own experience, our own observations, and come to conclusions. And obviously that's going to be very limited. As conditioned living beings, we make mistakes. Our senses are imperfect. We have a tendency to be illusioned. And we do have a propensity to cheat. So, how will we approach absolute truth and absolute knowledge? There is a question that was posed in one of the discussions in these ancient Vedic literatures, because there are actually discussions between enlightened, self-realized beings, and they put forward very profound questions. This is not even a question that most of us would have considered, and that is, if the absolute truth is beyond the material mind and senses, how can one understand with the material mind and senses? It's a wonderful question, isn't it? So the answer is, when the mind and senses, which are given by the Lord for the purpose of either entangling us in this material creation because we are playing out our desires to live separately from the Lord, or utilizing our senses and mind to come back to the Lord, to reawaken the love, the initial connection that we had from the very beginning of our creation. We were created to engage with the Lord in loving relationships. That's actually the purpose of our existence. So, how wonderful to reawaken that. We're looking for love in this world everywhere. But are we finding it? Are we completely satisfied and fulfilled within our hearts? No, because without reawakening that original loving relationship, there will always be an emptiness and a vacuum and a seeking. So we're in this world seeking in so many species of life. The Vedic literatures tell us that there are 8,400,000 species of life. And to come to this human form, we have been through all these species. And now we have this valuable form of life with this higher intelligence where we can consider our own existence. Who are we? Where do we come from? Why are we here? What is the purpose of our life? How important these questions are. These are not insignificant questions. These are questions that we need to put to those who have the highest level of realization and understanding. Otherwise, in so many ways, how can we be misled? These are not questions that we ask somebody who's rich and famous. somebody who has a lot of degrees, somebody who sat in silence for 20 years, somebody who has a lot of followers on the internet. We have to understand where to go. And that is why Srila Prabhupada gave his life to translate these ancient Vedic literatures. So I thought today, since I'm always speaking about them, that we would read a passage to give you a sense of how elevated these teachings are and how anyone of any tradition can come to these teachings and feel even more enlightened about their own tradition. So one moment. We're reading from the first canto of the Bhagavatam. Let you see it here. And chapter 1 begins with questions by the sages. What a wonderful way to begin a book of knowledge. I'm not going to read the Sanskrit. So there's the Sanskrit, there's the English transliteration, and there's word-for-word definitions and a purport. So we're going to read the translation. I offer my obeisances unto Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, who is the supreme, all-pervading personality of Godhead. I meditate upon him, the transcendent reality, who is the primeval cause of all causes, from whom all manifested universes arise, in whom they dwell, and by whom they are destroyed. I meditate upon that eternally effulgent Lord, who is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and yet is beyond them. It is he only who first imparted Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahma, the first created being. Through him this world, like a mirage, appears real, even to great sages and demigods. Because of him, the material universes created by the three modes of nature appear to be factual, although they are unreal. I meditate, therefore, upon him, the absolute truth, who is eternally existent in his transcendental abode, and who is forever free of illusion. Now I'm going to read the translation of the second verse. The purport for that was actually many pages. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavad Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Sri Vyasadeva, is sufficient in itself for God realization. As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, he becomes attached to the Lord. The purpose of religion is to develop love, to have that love in our heart rekindled. Srila Prabhupada never told people to change their faith. he did tell them to start practicing what they had learned and actually live it. So for those who said they were Christians, Srila Prabhupada said, how can you eat meat and say you are a follower of Christ? So the point is not to follow a certain set of rules and regulations and then to claim that we're this or that. No. The idea of being in this human form of life is to awaken our dormant love within our heart. We are tiny parts of the Supreme Lord, parts and parcels. What is our existence? We are eternal, full of knowledge, full of joy. There's a one famous teacher who I was looking at his materials. He's written 6 or 8 books. He's been famous for decades, teaching all over the world. His books have been translated to so many different languages. And yet there was no understanding of the personality of Godhead. There was some understanding of how we can get beyond our material emotions and become peacefully fixed in the heart. But we, as living beings, desire relationships. We want to be in relationship with another living being. Where does that come from? It comes from the Supreme Lord, who created all of us so that we could be in relationship with Him. So that is what religion is. It's how to be in relationship with the Lord. This person has written so many books, and yet he's saying that everything is within and you don't need a teacher. So why is he writing so many books? Because we do need a teacher. When we come into this world, do we know how to read? Do we know how to write? Do we know how to do anything? We go to school. So if we want to understand these higher subject matters, then we need to hear from somebody who knows. And that is why hearing from such a personality as His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and taking advantage of these wonderful books that he has made available for us, is such a wonderful and powerful way to enlighten our hearts and minds and propel us forward in the proper direction on our spiritual journey. Otherwise, if we go to the marketplace out there, which has unlimited speculations, we're going to be misled, confused, bewildered, and even harmed. So I encourage all of you, please take advantage of these books and take advantage of the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. These holy names are meant to help purify our hearts. The lifestyle Srila Prabhupada gave was to help purify our existence. That is how one becomes enlightened. And that is what we want for each of you. And we're so excited to read how people from all over the world are beginning to feel attracted and take up this chanting and read these books and begin to offer their food to the Lord, which is something that we have available for you in our Purify My Life series. How you can establish an altar in your home, how you can offer food to the Lord and create sacred foodstuffs that you take into your body that also help you in your spiritual journey. This is a wonderful science, and I hope that you will take advantage of it. Thank you so very much for listening. Hare Krishna.